Hi, this is Melinda from Click Winning Content. I specialise in Google stuff, including Google AdWords and Google Analytics. So in this video today, we're going to look at how to use Google Analytics to answer that age-old question, was the first time special? And actually what we mean is, was the first time visit to your website special? And we'll look at this by segmenting your Google Analytics data to see how new visitors behave compared to returning visitors. Because when you think about it, they should behave differently. I mean, I'm sure you act differently once you get to know someone, as opposed to the first meeting. In fact, a first time visit to your website could be a little like meeting someone on a first date. It might be love at first sight, where they can't get enough of you, they want to look at everything you've ever written, spend loads of time on your site, give you your contact details so you can keep in contact forevermore, and maybe even give you their credit card details so they can buy something. But like in the real world, love at first sight does happen, but it's probably not the most likely scenario. More likely it might be that your website was good enough to make people want to see you again at some point in future if you make the call and follow them up, or, you know, in the web world, if you get connected to them via social media or in some other way, share fantastic content and make them want to come back and visit your website again. Or there's another scenario. The visit to your website might have just been a one-night stand. Someone came there, got what they needed at the time, but quite frankly, really not interested in ever seeing you again. So we're going to find this out by using Google Analytics. If you don't have an account set up, go to the link there on the screen, google.com/analytics, and it'll step you through how to create the tracking code and get it added to your site. But let's now jump over to an analytics account that is tracking. Log in, go to the reporting screen. When you come to analytics at first, there's a date range in the top right-hand corner. And you can actually set that date range for whatever time period you want to have a look at. If you don't change it, it'll just default to the previous month of data. And what we're actually going to look at today is over on the left-hand side, there's the tab called Audience. Click to pull that down, and a few down there's one called Behavior. If you click underneath that, New versus Returning, it actually splits the total number of visits into visitor types, so new visitor and returning visitor. And this lets you see how many total visits there were in the time period, but also how many visitors successfully, that had been to your website at least once in the past, returned. And that, again, as I mentioned, that might be people that signed up for your email list, you sent them a great article, they wanted to click through and read it, perhaps they're connected to you on social media, you made an offer, they went back, they returned to your website for whatever reason. Now, in terms of the quality of the visit, so particularly to find out was the first time special, we can look at these three columns down here to the right of the visit number. Pages per visit, pretty self-explanatory. The average number of pages that the person looked at during a visit, same as the average visit duration. So on average, how long did people spend? And then the third column over, bounce rate, is a really important one to understand. Bounce rate is actually one of the stats that gives you an indication of how engaged people are with your website. And that's because bounce rate measures the percentage of people that leave your website without even clicking on one single thing. So where that's 83% there, that bounce rate's actually quite high. That means 83% of people left without clicking on anything. But it's good to view that in conjunction with average visit duration, because they did actually spend some time there reading the content. And this is where you can see the difference in the behavior between the new visitors and the returning visitors. And what I'm finding, where the website has a blog, like this one does in the example stats that I'm using, I'm actually finding that the pages per visit and average duration are higher for returning visitors and the bounce rate's lower. So in my opinion, this sort of flows on from the know you, like you, trust you idea. The first time they visit, they might just read the article they're interested in or your homepage or something else, and then they leave. But if you can keep luring people back and they really, really like your content, they're then prepared to spend longer on the site, reading more and looking at more pages. And that's a different scenario to a website that doesn't have a blog. So for example, a service provider using a website to promote their visits. Perhaps someone goes there the first time, They want to look at the services pages, see if the person can help them, read the about page, find out about the person. So perhaps in that case, the first visit would be longer. And if they went back later on, it might be just to quickly check a fact or to look up the person's phone number again. So in that case, the pages per visit would be less and the average visit duration lower. So good to understand the stats. Have a look at them for your own website. Consider whether you've got a blog or not. Consider what your objectives are for the traffic that comes to your website, and just have a look at that and see if you're meeting the needs of your new visitors and of your returning visitors. And obviously, the more pages per visit you can get and the longer average visit duration and the lower bounce rate for both new and returning visitors, the better. It's a sign that you've got a really good website. So that's actually breaking up all the visits. Another thing that's quite useful to do, you can come up here and you can actually segment any part of the existing Google Analytics data to see new visitors and returning visitors and see how they behave differently. So I just clicked Advanced Segments and then New Visitors, Returning Visits, and then Apply. So then if we go down the side here, perhaps we'll first look at all traffic sources. So on the left there, click Traffic Sources, Sources, and then All Traffic. And this actually splits all your different traffic sources to show how the new visitors and returning visitors behaved. And again, just think about how people found you, why they might have found you, and whether or not they're actually spending longer there when they're new or longer when they came back. Maybe this trend follows the overall trend, or maybe it's different for some traffic sources. Like everything with analytics, it's just really good to understand how your own website performs and then keep continually making changes to try and improve that performance. Another useful way, another useful use for this segmentation of data is to have a look at your content. So if you go to content there on the left and then site content, all pages, you can then look at actually each page of your website and how the new and returning visitors perform. And it's probably particularly interesting for the home page, so people that see your home page first. So the home page is that one there you can see at number 9 with the little /. You would probably think people arriving at your home page first, those visitors might spend longer and look at more pages than people that return to your home page. But again, just have a look at your stats with the segmentation there. See if actually the first time was special for visitors to your website. Think about ways you could perhaps make it more special for them, and then think about more ways to get connected to first-time visitors to your website to encourage them to come back again and again, so you can increase that number of returning visitors. So I hope this little short video has been useful and given you some things to think about. I'll just pull up a slide of my social media content, my social media links. I do share tips quite regularly for Google Analytics and also for Google AdWords, so feel free to get connected to me at those links, or you can send me an email as well via the contact page on my website, which is linked to there.